Yeah. These lights are bright.
Yeah, can we tone down the lights at some point? Or not?
No. That's a hard no, Roberto.
We want to melt your face.
Or like, what's the deal? I watched like a podcast. I don't mind, to be honest, but I watched a podcast like I did this like podcast seminar thing, like a webinar, and it was about how these guys like built their podcast set and stuff, and how they went huge. It's Real Canada or something. It's anyway, they like actually built like they built like a light bar in the room, and had lights like permanently up there.
That would be fine if you wanted.
Does that help?
Gigantic like softbox would be kick ass. They're very. I mean, you could have one built, or you could.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of expensive if you get really big, but like these are too tiny. They'd have to be like these two top to top, and you could have like two of those or something up above.
That would be softer.
Yeah.
So did you try these?
No.
Are these just worthless?
They're just not very bright.
Okay.
So, I mean, the reason I use these is because they're pumping in the same, or they're trying to just overpower this just a little bit, you know. So I'm trying to just even that out.
Okay.
And then I try to make the color about the same. This is a warm fluorescent tube, which is good. It's better than being a nasty ass Kmart.
Cold. Yeah.
Tube. So that's good.
Okay.
And I like the warm gray, and but I mean, if you wanted to put a gigantic softbox that was like 3 feet wide and 8 feet wide and 3 feet tall,
Just hang it from the ceiling.
pointed at you at a 45-degree angle, like back here where this other light bar is, or we could put it right there where that vent is, so it doesn't cover the other light, you know.
Okay.
And that could like, you know, just pop down, and that would look cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Cool. We can start with these two. I mean, I'm down to start with this, you know.
Well, we are allegedly have been live for about a month.
Oh.
Whatever. I mean, what are we talking about? We're just talking about
All right.
all things.
I hadn't got that far, so
exactly. It doesn't really
let's,
matter. This is just a.
Oh, yeah, we're
let's think. I mean, one of them are going to be like the real estate stuff, like the Ask Me Anything kind of thing, right? And market report, basically. So.
Well, how are we going to do an Ask Me Anything if we're doing a podcast? It's going to be, we got to have stuff to talk about.
Of course, yeah. It's questions we already have. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Like, so one of the questions we get all the time right now is,
Oh, right.
introduce it, and you be the guest, and you just answer the questions.
Okay.
The phones obviously would not be there normally, but
It could be.
no. Definitely not.
I mean, why not?
I mean, if we're using them for
what I
something.
mean.
Well, because, man, we want this to look like super staged. All right, tell us when you're ready.
All right, well, I'm recording on the
Can we get a
camera. We are live.
sponsorship of Topo Chico?
We are live to YouTube,
Okay.
Is it your YouTube?
my YouTube.
Yeah.
And everything is excellent. We got good.
Sound is good.
Sound is good.
Mic check, mic check.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
great.
Awesome.
Light, video,
Yeah, it looks great.
everything looks good.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Then let's do like a quick 15-minute trial run. That way we have, and then if you don't mind editing it for us, you know what I mean, to give us kind of a roughly finished product, then we'll have something to beat up.
What are we editing it for?
Just for our own purposes.
Yeah, because the podcast is going to be live, so there won't be any editing.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's going to be live right away. You know?
Why wouldn't it be?
Well, because I don't think we're that good. I want to be really good at this.
Before
know?
going live?
Yeah. Yeah.
But live makes you better.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think you should be able to be good regardless. I don't think you should count on live making you better. All right, so can we start? You dialed?
I'm gonna try recording it on this too as well, so.
Okay.
And this is live recording, yes, we have DVR on, yep. Turn that on. So this is recording, and now,
All the recordings.
We got to have our options open at least.
this is.
I don't want to do it live until we're like practiced and like dialed. You know.
But the point of a podcast is to be really candid and like, it's not overly scripted. It's platformed and there's like, all that. And then there's like the reality of it. That's why why podcasts have taken off is because it's
Not
like,
all podcasts are live though.
no, but they're not edited. You know what I mean?
No. Are podcasts edited?
Not if they're live.
Yeah, not if they're live, but if they're not live, they're edited.
Like the Joe Rogan podcast, is that edited? Or is that an hour long of them just...
No, that's live, and then they take out pieces of it as, which you can
As
watch
they
the
read it.
2-hour one, or you can
Right.
watch 15 minutes on why our pterodactyls
Right.
don't have feathers or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. My pterodactyls don't have feathers. That's a good one.
You never know, he's always talking to all these wacky people.
So how do they cut them down? How do they take
Well,
time?
then they go and edit them after the fact.
So the only
And
live
pull-
one is if you
pull
see the
clips
whole
of it
2
out.
hours.
Clips from
The live version.
the live version.
And then just repost that in other places or whatever.
Repost it, yeah.
Okay.
And then he's on Spotify and he's on YouTube. I don't watch him on Spotify, but he got a butt ton of money last year to go to Spotify. But he still publishes to YouTube. And then he moved the fuck out of LA because of the pandemic and because Texas is cheaper. They didn't have all the pandemic crap that like LA had.
Right.
They just didn't have a pandemic. They didn't care.
Yeah.
Well, pretty much. Yeah.
Right.
Like
So-
Mississippi and everybody else.
Yeah, but I'm sure some of them are edited. I mean, the one you guys were doing for Sandra was edited.
That was edited because that
Yeah.
wasn't live.
Yeah.
Because she didn't.
I would say anyone that's not live is edited. Wouldn't you agree?
Anyone that's not live, but in general, I did not edit anything out unless there was something I needed to put back in, like they forgot something, and then they would record 5 seconds, not 5 minutes of whatever, and then I would pop it where it's supposed to be, but I highly discourage that. And in general, if there wasn't a huge mess up or something, no, it was like one run, boom. And then I edited the light, the sound, and everything else, but it was one take.
Okay.
They tried to do half an hour, but it could end up to be an hour and 15 minutes. No.
Yeah, no, I want to err on the short side for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
45 at the most.
Yeah, 30 to 45.
30
Yeah.
At the most.
At the
Yeah.
most. 30
Yeah.
should be, that's what we were going for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think one time we got like, it was like 27 minutes, and they were like, are you sure that's enough? And I'm like, yes, that's plenty. The hour
Yeah.
and a half ones that we were doing, we're like, oh my God, no. Because
Yeah.
it takes forever to process.
Right.
That information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing this live, pretty much, so we don't have to go and edit stuff, because that takes hours and hours.
But we could just repurpose, like, if you said something really compelling and we had like a really good like 3-minute dialogue, we could take that clip out and then go put it on all the social media spots and just be like-
Right.
And then you direct people to subscribe to your podcast through that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Just like Joe Rogan.
Just like Joe Rogan, you see random clips of his shit all over the internet,
Right.
and then you click on it to watch it, and it's like subscribe to Joe Rogan podcast,
Right.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's the move.
So, but like this can live stream to your YouTube, live stream to your Facebook, live stream to a professional Facebook page. I don't know, we'll have to see. I would think so.
Yeah.
That you could do that. I haven't particularly done that myself. myself, but I have streamed to numerous places using the Restream software. I'm going to have to set up a Restream software for you, so I will need an email and a potential password, or I can make one up, it doesn't matter, it won't matter to you, but it'll have to be under your email for the Restream.
Okay.
Because I already have Restreams under my emails. We're not going to use my Restream to do your stuff.
Right.
It'll be a separate, because I have Colorado Crane Restream, my Restream,
Right.
your
Cool.
Restream,
Okay.
et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
But you need to have your own, but I'll have the information to get into it.
Okay.
And then that Restream can go to one spot each. If you wanted to go to numerous YouTubes, we'd have to pay for that. If you want to go to one YouTube, one Facebook, one wherever else, YouTube or something like that, or a Twitch, or a
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
Instagram.
Instagram, yes.
So we could do the Team Yazbek YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and then be solid.
Then be done. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, let's shoot for that. Let's make that our goal. But we just need to practice.
Yeah.
To where we're comfortable enough to do it.
I think that you need to practice, or just, you're like, okay, when we first started recording you doing stuff at the houses,
Mhm.
you were really uncomfortable.
Terrible. Yeah.
Rigid and
No, I
stuff.
didn't
Yeah.
say terrible. I said you were really
I did.
uncomfortable. And now you're like, I got this. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, and that's the same thing that happened with Sandra, even though it
Mhm. wasn't
live. It was like, she's an introvert like me.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't want.
You're not an
I don't even
introvert.
know. Oh, I'm she didn't even want to do it really, but she
Yeah.
wanted to because it, just like you know it's important.
Yeah.
Now, we have not restarted it after the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
but, that's a lot of, it's hard to do. You need to get people, you need to have somebody on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
So, and you're in a better position here in Steamboat because there's a lot more interesting people
Right.
to talk to.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, we talked to the bug guy, we
Yeah.
talked to the cow guy, we talked to,
Awesome.
all these weird people.
Right.
And then they were like, well, we're running out of people, and I'm like, I don't know how to find people for you to talk to.
Yeah. Sorry, we'll never run out of people in Steamboat.
But Steamboat,
Yes.
you could
Ever.
be like,
Speaking of
you
which,
get
can
the
you call
coffee
Mike Wayne?
shop owner, you could get the
Yeah.
city manager, you could get
Yeah.
the bug guy,
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. No, we got people
Parks
for
and
days.
Recreation manager.
All right, so let us do just a quick practice run just to get personas and see how we come across on the camera and stuff. Is that cool?
Yes, we are still running.
I know.
We've been doing this the whole time.
I know. Okay, are we good? And if you don't want to live stream anymore, I don't know, did you check the box there, whatever you're testing as far as that goes?
I mean, you can look, we can just live stream and you can go see it after the fact.
On his YouTube.
It'll live on your YouTube?
Yes.
Oh,
Now-
it doesn't stop. It then is now part of your YouTube page.
Yeah,
Is anybody watching? Can you tell?
I think just me.
Okay, cool. I'm just
Yeah.
curious if we actually have an audience or not. Okay.
No, people know that I'm constantly using my YouTube
Doing
to
shit.
test crap.
Gotcha.
So it'll be just like a picture of my wall for 3 hours.
Yeah. Nice.
Sometimes I get a
People don't-
picture and I'm like,
Don't get
oh,
super excited.
Yeah.
so
Cool.
I just use it as a test thing at the moment.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. Let's go because we all got to keep doing other shit. All right. Welcome to Talk of the Boat. Robert Yazbek here with Team Yazbek at Coldwell Banker. I am your host and joined today by our co-host and buyer specialist, Cole Helberg.
Hi, everybody. So Talk of the Boat is the name we came up with.
Talk of the Boat is the latest and greatest. I think
Okay.
that's probably where we're at.
Sounds
This
good to
is
me.
test run number 1. Super excited to be doing a podcast/YouTube show. We're going to be streaming to multiple different channels. One of the, we're going to do every week, and one week we're going to do a Ask Me Anything, basically, and we're going to talk about local, current, actual real estate questions and trends, things that are going on in the market, in the trenches, that sort of thing. Cole is one of the top, if not the top buyer's agent in town, works with tons of buyers. I primarily work with sellers. So he's out there in this competitive market, you know, working with folks that are up against multiple offers all the time and watching properties go for way over asking price and that kind of thing, while I'm talking to people that are thinking about selling, right? So we've got different perspectives on things. We always collaborate with our clients. One of the biggest questions I'm getting right now is, I'd love to sell because the market's hot and my price is ridiculous, but where do I go? There's nothing on the market. What, you know, how am I going to buy anything? If I sell, where do I go?
Great question. We get that all the time. So basically what we tell our sellers is don't worry about it. We've got a proven system for that. If you want to sell your house today and get top dollar, we can build that into the contract and give you time to essentially cash out your home and then have time to go find your house. All the while, as a buyer's agent, we'll go find you the house while you're under contract or while you're prepping your house to sell. So we've got that kind of all dialed in. Our system's proven to be pretty successful. Over the last year, we've kind of constantly adding things to do to find those off-market properties and kind of make your process a lot easier. So
this was something we were doing before the pandemic started, actually, and before the inventory really took a huge dive. And then we realized that we had to refine the process. So we actually went and put a 10-step process together.
Yeah.
So we call it a buyer need. And when we get a buyer that is ready to sell and looking to buy, but there's not something on the market for them, which is basically every buyer right now,
right.
we go to work running through that 10-step process.
Right.
So, you know, give us a little bit. We don't have to go through the whole 10 steps or whatever, but what's been working most for you lately? You've been finding off-market properties for buyers left and right.
Mostly, I mean, you tell me.
Most effective
the most effective lately has been initially just sending postcards to a neighborhood and then tracking down all the phone numbers for the sellers or for the in the neighborhood and calling all those folks and just asking them and giving them a scenario and says, hey, I have someone that wants to live in your neighborhood, you know, and that's been proven to work. And people are kind of like, well, but then that's where the question comes in. Well, if I sell to your buyer, where do I go? And then the cycle kind of continues, which is kind of interesting.
Right. So it's nonstop. Yes.
It's nonstop.
It's not a two-dimensional, you know.
No, not at all.
One seller sells and then
and another buyer buys.
It's literally we have to connect the dots.
Connect the dots, and then it's a never-ending chain. The ideal situation is if one person like wants to move out of town, and then we have a buyer for that, and then a buyer for them, and then a buyer for their house, and it just kind of trickles downhill. But
the other nice thing in our market is sometimes it's second homes, right? And
right.
sometimes people are willing to let go of
right.
their second home to cash out at the top and then take their time finding another second home or something.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, on top of that, we just started a new one. Me and our other buyer's agent, Mark Bennett, we decided to go, you know, take it to social media and make a video and say, hey, we are working with a handful of buyers. These are people that are ready to buy today, and give them your criteria. And we just launched that part of the campaign yesterday. So we're going to cross fingers, hope that one works as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's a new part.
So if you're a buyer that's looking to buy and we need to find you an off-market property and you'd like to appear on a video, we'll shoot a video of your whole family and send it out on social media. If you
Why
like, right?
not?
That'd be the next level.
That'd be the next level, I guess, yeah. With us in it, you know, and kind of talking through their needs and wants.
Introduce the family, introduce the dog, make you famous, put you on YouTube and Facebook, and try to find you the perfect home.
Yeah, so that'd be next level, and we're open to any suggestions to make our process better and more effective.
So here's the other difference, right? Obvious super extreme seller's market, right? Like we've never really seen the buyers out there, are really emotionally charged, if you will. It's a little bit of a feeding frenzy. So sellers are calling the shots now, right?
Totally.
So what has happened, what I've seen, and what Cole sees from the other perspective is sellers are able to somewhat dictate the timing of everything, right?
Right.
So in a normal market, a seller would, figure most likely that they're going to have to buy and sell basically on the same day, maybe simultaneously. Maybe they
Yeah.
get a weekend or a week to, stay in the house to finish packing and move out and that kind of thing.
Right.
How has that changed? It's changed dramatically. What have you seen?
It's wild. So really right now, a buyer just wants to lock in a property, however that looks. We've seen, currently we just put a off-market property together for some buyers of mine. The guy needs a 60-day lease back. They were on board. No big deal. I just recently did another off-market situation where the buyer was willing to pay a higher price to lock in the property, and the seller needed a 30-day possession time so they could comfortably move out, and with some of their family issues and stuff like that, family problems, they had to put the extra time to be able to maneuver their house and close properly and whatnot. So that, then we had one guy, family was ready to do an 18-month lease back, buy the house now, and their only stipulation was we get to bring our camper to the property. It's a big ranch, and the guy said, well, I want to leave in 18 months. These guys were on board with it. So it's wild.
It's amazing
what buyers are willing to do to accommodate the sellers. And not only that, they're buyers of, and if you're a buyer, be prepared to pay, additional closing costs, maybe pay the title insurance and things like that, because that's just what's happening right now to make yourself competitive. So that's another thing that buyers are willing to pretty much do whatever.
Yeah. So it's a neat time to be a buyer or a seller in this market. There's no question the market's going to continue. Prices are not topped out by any means. But to be a seller, it's really neat right now because you've got a lot of options. So depending on if you need the cash out of your home to buy the next home, in that case, that's when you close at a normal time frame, cash out, and then buy yourself time to go find a replacement property with cash in hand by doing the lease back. And in some cases, we've even seen people make the sale contingent on them finding a replacement property.
Right, exactly.
Right? That's next level as well because, you find there's so many buyers for every property. If you got a good property, you got it priced well, you can even find the buyer that will let you go out and find a property before you even commit to selling your property.
Right.
And then if the cash out of the current home doesn't matter, you can always just push closing off too and get all the contingencies out of the way and then just have a delayed closing. So depending on your needs, as a seller, there's a lot of fun options out there. And,
and as a buyer, be prepared to accommodate some of those options, right? So you don't want to just be like, I have to close this day, because I would say 7 out of 10 right now, there's some sort of accommodation that needs to be made.
Exactly.
So just be prepared to be okay with some, maneuvering dates and, being creative and things like that. So.
And make sure you ask your agent what their plan is to find you off-market properties. Because if they don't have one, I'm going to go out on a limb here, they're not going to bring you a whole lot of value in this market. A buyer's agent has to have a solid plan and a way to execute on how to find you off-market properties, or they're just sitting there waiting for something to hit the market like you're sitting there waiting for it to hit Zillow.
Yeah, exactly. If you're looking for properties online,
Yeah.
you can do that all day. So can I as a buyer's agent. But if you need to move or if you want to move and you're not finding success online, whether it's me, Mark, or whoever you're working with, if they're not pounding the phones, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to find you the right home or a home at all that you didn't just see on Zillow or Redfin or whatever you're using. So,
Yeah. The buyer's agent's duties have changed. So has listing agents. The market's completely changed. It's hot, obviously. There's lots of transactions happening, but it's a whole different game. And for an agent to bring you value right now, they've really got to have they have to have pivoted at some point and created a new plan for you.
Absolutely. And like Robert said, we created we put it on paper so that we have a process. We used to, before, when I first started, it was like, all right, this is what we do to find an off-market property. It was this, this, and this. Now we actually put it on paper, and it's like a standard operating procedure for our team. If we don't have the property waiting for you. Here's what we do to find it. And we can show you the nice document we made. It's really pretty. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. So that's a bunch of information there, and feel free to ask questions. Reach out to us if you have any questions about that process or want to understand our process better. So we got a big weekend coming up,
Ooh, Riverfest.
right? We're midway through the short week. Happy Hump Day. What's
Yeah.
going on this weekend?
Ooh, so we got Riverfest. Hopefully we're going to do a town lap. That's up to you if you want to get on the
No,
boat.
we're doing it. It's
So
on.
town lap, a bunch of river events. It's a big fundraiser for Friends of the Yampa, to help keep the river clean and support all the things that go along with the Yampa River. But most fun is we don't necessarily enter the race, but we get on a boat and tag along with the boat race down the river. Then we get out and there's beer tents and all sorts of fun stuff going on. And you can go on the website and find out, you can enter all the events if you want. There's paddleboard race, kayak race, big raft race. Tube rodeo is probably the best highlight of the weekend. That's where people pretty much ride anything through one of the big, rapids by the library. You've seen anywhere from flamingos to, big blow-up dogs and all sorts of weird stuff goes through the river at that point. And it's just a big, great fun event for the weekend. So,
Yep. Always a good one, and it's funny. The peak of the river here comes kind of early in the season. This season it came really early, so we're hoping for enough water this weekend to have a decent river fest. But regardless, any year it's cold, the water's big, it's early in the season, so definitely some exciting factors that
tons
come
of fun.
together, and it's really just kind of a wild, I don't want to say legendary, but landmark signature Steamboat Springs event.
Yeah.
My recommendation is get down to the Sea Hole, which is right by the library. That's the biggest man-made feature on the Yampa River downtown. Get down there, I'd say by 11 or 12.
Yep. Yeah, get a spot and you're good to go. But
Beer tents, local breweries, there's food tents and everything down there.
yeah,
And then
the
you'll
raft
get to
race
see-
starts at
I
1.
think the raft race starts at 1. The sup race starts at 12, I believe.
Yep, kayaks in between there because those are fast. And then the
then
rodeo
there's
is
the rodeo, right? So there's
after
a-
the race. I think that's later in the afternoon.
Sup rodeo, raft rodeo, tube rodeo. So if you
Yeah.
get a spot down there at the Sea Hole, there's lots of fun to be had watching people come through and try to surf the wave. And, half of them will be, naked or decorated funny.
3
or,
sheets to the wind, most definitely.
whatever.
So
Yeah.
definitely be safe. If you're doing something crazy, wear a helmet, or wear a PFD. Just be safe because there are a lot of people. Inebriation level will be high, so take that into consideration while you're planning your activities. It'll be fun though. So,
Nice. Good. I'm excited. Definitely going to take the team out on the raft. We'll be down there. We'd love to see you there. Anything else to wrap up?
no, I think we covered all things current right now, and yeah,
Perfect.
this is test run number 1. So
Thanks for joining us on Talk of the Boat. Next week we'll be talking with so-and-so from this awesome restaurant that is going to come talk to us about what they're doing great here in Steamboat, and we'll get to give you some details on that. Look forward to it.
see ya. Yeah, that was good.
Nice.
I just want to see what it looks like and how it sounds.